You know how you get to a certain point in a relationship when you know that you can't just take in some things anymore. Like with a mother or father, you've always followed what they said you should do without questions, even when some of it requires that questions be asked. And as a result, it eats you from deep within, making you walk around with a sad face accompanied by a troubled heart. You know, it keeps biting at you until a trigger comes and you explode one day and you say, I just can't take it anymore. Or with a friend who walks all over you and speaks behind your back to others, or who exhibits any other toxic behavior, but still claims to be your friend when you both are together. And then you get to a point when you know deep down that you have had enough and you can't go on no longer. And so you say, you can't do it anymore. And the same thing, of course, happens with love relationships. You get to a place where the realization has hit that you can't do it anymore. The place of one coming to the conclusion of not being able to do something and choosing to walk away instead usually stems from a place of reflection and then recognition of your strengths and weaknesses. You see, in a relationship, you would find those willing to support you in your strengths as you both walk towards easing or strengthening your weaknesses. And when you find such people, you ought to hold them dear to your heart. They are living treasures. For most humans, what happens is that they instead ride on your weaknesses to keep you below them and always in need of them. It then comes from a self-consciousness, knowing what works for you and what doesn't. Also knowing what you deserve and being determined to settle for no less than that. Knowing who you are, it can only truly come from finding identity in Christ. He calls you a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His marvelous light. Once you were not a people, but now you are the people of God. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. And I don't think that God's special possession should be treated in any manner other than the one the Father had made, that He put into existence for your safety. In Psalm chapter 139 verse 4, it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And this is the testimony of one who knows who he is. He knows his identity in Christ. He knows how loved, how cherished he is, right from the point of creation. And as I mentioned at the beginning, the first point is one of realization of who you are first. And then you begin to evaluate how you are being treated in a relationship or the feelings that the relationship aroused in you. It could be one of anger. The one you're in love with has a way of always stirring up anger in you, probably due to his words, probably due to her actions towards you. When you both are together or in public. And at first, you did a Christian thing, right? And you have been forgiven ever since. But you have come to realize that it is a lot better to walk away than to remain. And so, you do that, knowing that you can't do this anymore. Another emotion will be that of a feeling of abandonment. Most people enter love relationships to feel loved and to feel protected by the thought of belonging to someone who longs for you, who loves you as well. This might have changed during the course of the relationship. You find yourself more and more alone without reasonable explanations as to where the other person is. You try to be understanding and you even try to talk about it, but not much has changed since then. And you've come to the end of your tether. you do deserve much more. But yet, another feeling is the one of discouragement. You have been with someone who never fails to put you down. Your dreams don't mean so much to him. Your dreams don't matter to her. And at the start, you probably were the shy and timid and unsure one. And so, they walked all over you, and you took it. Your self-esteem depleting drastically over time. But however, you have come to a point of realizing your worth and identity in Christ. And you know that you deserve a lot more. And you just can't do this anymore. And so, it is time to walk away and fly. Soaring to new heights as you rebuild your confidence with this new image of yourself. You see, you're feeling fearful in a relationship is another emotion that can cause you to walk away. There's a story of a lady whose boyfriend hit her so often and he stalked her, and she grew afraid of him. Mainly because she could not let the world know that she was suffering in the relationship. She felt that it was a thing to be ashamed of, and she felt ashamed of herself. And she was. Therefore, instead of seeking for help, she would keep silent and pretend to be fine in public. And the man realized this and used it to his advantage. And that's what a lot of people do today. And she continued being a shell of herself until she was able to break free. And that did not come easy. It in itself took almost 2 years. And your story might be different, but the feeling of fear is also one that is constantly being evoked in it. It is not healthy. And I'm glad that you have come to a point of realizing that you can't do it no more. You see. And then there's a feeling of insecurity. And this could either be from the one you're in a relationship with, or from external forces, which the man or the woman you love fails to protect you from. The result for the feeling of insecurity can be fear, as mentioned above, and makes you run away from a lot of things which you should be confronting instead. The relationship has not been of any help here, and you know that you can't do this anymore. You want to take out time to deal with this thing on your own. And that is a beautiful thing. And then there is the emotion of anxiety, which is closely linked with that of insecurity, and always keeping your heart beating. When you hear the name of the one you love, or you're reminded of him or her somehow, the response should be a smile or something sweet, right? When your heart begins to race every time, it could even lead to your suffering anxiety attacks. And for whatever reason, walking away is a better choice. And I mean, the list goes on. Emotions move you to take action, and negative emotions are usually waiting and threatening to overwhelm you. The response is your deciding to walk away to a clean and sane space, and then you have to receive rest and restoration from the Father. Strength and love too. Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." The Lord has your future in His hands.